Welcome to another processing tutorial. This one is for Galaxy M106. This is 20 hours of data here, taken from my Bortle 8 light polluted city centre location. I used a 2600 MC Pro one-shot colour camera with an Optolong L quad enhance filter, and the telescope was an ASCAR 130 PHQ. So I'm hoping that in short order we can turn this integrated stack into a half-decent final image. There's a reasonable amount of data in here. I've got some oddities though. I don't know if you can see, there's some dark bands here, so we'll have to take care of those. I'm not quite sure what caused them, but there they are, so we'll have to fix them. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is make a clone of the source image here so that we can go back to it if we mess anything up. Next, I think that we should do a bit of a crop, because I don't like this framing. I messed this up a bit. We want to be tighter in on the Galaxy. Oh, actually, what I should do first of all is a integer resample. This is a bin times 2 equivalent, which I do because my data is oversampled. If you're not sure whether you should be doing that or not, then there's an article on urbanastrophotography.com that will help you out. Alright, so we've bin times 2, now we're going to do a dynamic crop. I'm going to hold down the control button to maintain that aspect ratio, and if we're cropping in, then we're actually going to get rid of this first dark band, so that's going to be one problem solved from the off. Let's just try to go for a kind of a composition. I think is quite nice. Yeah, let's go with that, shall we? I'm going to click the tick there. And next we're going to run image solver, or this should be input automatically if you're using an Astro camera. I'm going to click OK, and this is going to give PixInsight lots of information about the image. The next step is going to be blur exterminator, which will help to counteract some of the blurring effects of the atmosphere and sharpen the image up a little bit. I like to use render PSF image to evaluate the data, and we can look at our full width half maximum on the X and Y axis here, and we want a number between those two, so let's see 1.34. Need to remember that 1.34 because we're going to use that in blur exterminator here. 1.34, and I keep everything else as default most of the time, so let's run that, and it'll just take a moment and it will sharpen the image up a little bit. Alright, looking good. We've done a few steps, so let's change this to blur X and make a clone of that in case we need to go back. We haven't got rid of the gradients yet, have we? Let's do that, shall we? Probably should have done that before, but that's alright. Let's just see what happens. My favourite current method of removing gradients is SETI Astro's automatic DBE. Let's run that, and it should smooth out the background of our image. You can see the gradients that it's removed, and the new image. There we go. Getting there. I'm going to minimize that, and let's make a clone of that. Next step is the colors. So for that, we're going to use SPCC. And this is broadband data, so everything here is default, should be fine. Let's just go ahead and run that. And it has evened out the colours somewhat. Okay. Now we're going to stretch our image from this linear stage to non-linear. My favourite easy method to do that is another SETI Astro script, which is statistical stretch. Let's click preview refresh, and we can see what it looks like up here, and there's some tips here for the numbers that you should put in. But basically you can just play about with it a bit, do the preview, see what looks good. I like to give it a bit of a curves boost, so around 0.4 I find works quite well. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, it makes it pop a little bit more. And just play about, see what looks good. Yeah, alright, let's go with that. And then we have our data has been stretched. Let's rename that. Excellent, there we go. There might be a little bit of green that's snuck in. I don't like green, so I use SCNR. Take that out. And the next step is going to be to separate out the stars from the galaxies. We do that because then we can process the stars and the galaxies a bit differently. So we're going to make a clone of the image there that we're working on, and I like to use StarNet 2. We're not using linear data, we've already stretched it, so I'm going to uncheck that and run StarNet 2 on this image here. That'll take out all the stars. Super, that only took a few seconds. Then a script I like to use is called Screen Stars. We are doing star removal. So our star review is this one here, M106 stretched. And the starless view is the one we just made, which is M106 stretched clone 1. Okay, and let's click tick on that. And hey presto, move that out of the way, we have two images. We've got the stars and we've got the galaxies. Now my go-to method for the stars is to boost the color saturation, because I find them to be a little pale as default. So I'm going to load up color saturation, click on the little circle to get a real-time preview, and then I'm going to move the tiny little yellow box here kind of almost up to the top there, and that's just going to give a global boosting color saturation to all the stars. Click on the square to activate that. Close, close, and then I'm going to minimize the stars, and we'll keep those out of the way until we need them later. Let's call this one Starless, make a clone of it, and then think, what shall we do next? You know what, it's probably a good time to take care of this dark band here. Again, I'm not too sure what caused that, maybe something in the imaging train, or maybe I'd messed up my flats or something, but we can use a bit of a brute force method of dealing with it. We can use our clone stamp, we can make a clone stamp nice and big, and control, click over here, and then click there, control, we're just kind of cloning it out really. How's that looking? It doesn't need to be perfect because you won't really notice when there's stars and things over it, but I think that'll do for now. Okay, so we're going to click on the tick to apply all of that. And then I think we should do some curves transformation. So we're going to have a real-time preview here, and we're going to play about with our curves just so that the galaxies are a bit brighter and the background is a bit darker. Click on the little circle here that gives us a before and after. Alright, making progress. Let's go with that. It's pretty noisy, so let's run some noise exterminator. Quite a high level for this, I think, because it is very noisy. Okie dokie. Next, I think we should make a mask so that we can deal with the galaxies separately from the background. So to make a mask, I'm going to go to Range Selection. Let's have real-time preview here. And we want to play about with our limits until we have our galaxies selected, but not the background. And we can add some smoothness to it as well. Looking good. Okay, I'm going to click the square to create that mask. And to apply that mask, we click and drag the name of it over below the name of the image we want to apply it to. And then that will turn brown to show that it's applied, and we can see it here. There's the red. Now we don't want that red to be visible, so we're going to click on the little icon up here with the magnifying glass, and the mask is still applied, it's just we don't see it as the red on there. So let's just go to our curves transformation, and now if we play about with that, we can see it's applying the curves to the background, but not the foreground galaxies. So what we want to do is just bring that background nice and dark, not completely black, but much darker than it was. It's looking good. And then we want to make some changes just to the galaxies, so we can use this button up here to invert the mask. So at the moment that mask is applied to the background, but now let's invert it, and now what we do will just apply to the foreground galaxies. Okay, so we can make them a little brighter, make them pop a little bit, and maybe we will boost their saturation a bit as well. We don't want to boost the saturation of the background because that will make the noise become more apparent, but we can boost the galaxies. Not too much. That's looking quite nice, I think. And perhaps we want to run just a little bit of unsharp mask on those galaxies as well. Give them just a little bit of sharpness. That might be too much even. If we want to zoom in, we can use this button here. Zoom in on that one. Yeah, way too much. Not much. Maybe 25. Let's apply that. Alright, we're going to remove the mask there. And let's try, let's minimize that. We might need that again later. Let's try running, what's it called? I always like it, dark structure enhance. This helps to bring out the darkest structures in the galaxies. Yeah, that might have created a little bit of a halo around the galaxy actually. Perhaps in this case it's not working so well. Okay, so we won't do that one. Maybe we'll try a little bit of local histogram equalizer. Default looks way too much. Yeah, again, just a little bit, otherwise it looks overcooked. Alright, super. Now let's bring the stars back in, shall we? So to do that, we're going to go to Screen Stars again. And this time, Star Replacement. Our starless view is M106 starless. We can see the name of it up there. And the stars view is called Stars. Great. And then click tick on that. Do you know what? I reckon we're almost there. There are some other things that we could play about with, like the colour and play about with curves a bit more if we want a bit more detail in there. But for now, I think what I'll do as a final step is our integer resample, because we downsampled it to begin with. So now at the very end, we can upsample it to get that resolution back. And I reckon that is just about done for our quick tutorial. There we go, it's about 14 minutes or so. Obviously, when you're doing it, be slower, take more time, play about with different things. But that's the general idea. I hope that was useful. Thank you very much.